Guys, today we're building another miniature scenery from the game Anno 1800, Season 3 and the very first DLC, Docklands. ClayClaim. While it's raining cats and dogs outside, we'll stay inside because we are playing Anno 1800 and this means we are building it with clay, my favorite strategy game series of all time, and with the 1800 and with the new DLC, Dockland, we have a very beautiful project for today. It is based on a real location in Germany, in the beautiful town called Hamburg. It's a very gigantic and old port facility built around, well, I'd guess 1800, because they put it into the game and it was used for storage. We have these beautiful brick buildings and all the docks, and it looks like a tiny town floating in the water. And this is what we are building today. In German it's called Speicherstadt, so you should look it up if you are interested in this topic. We start with the docks, and you have seen that I use two different colors of clay. We have the gray, the surface, but also the ochre underneath. And then we have some tiny stairs and patterns, which makes it look like a tiny miniature version of these docks. Normally I create certain areas of a level, for example, but this time I just started creating and assembled and build all the different elements of today's creation just while going. So there is not a lot of planning involved. I just saw some of these elements and just gave it a try and started building on these. Today's video, once again, is another collaboration with the German YouTube channel GTV. So if you want to watch this video in German, go ahead, I'll link the video right here. Now that we finished the docks of this port facility, we switch over to the water. I am mixing the dark blue together with aqua, with a bright blue. And you may recognize that I decided to go with this beautiful mixed pattern within the clay because it's water. I assume that water and clay behave in a similar way when you throw two different colored kinds together, and that you get these tiny turbulences as water would behave. And this is why I love clay so much and why I love the texture so much. Yeah, we have some bridges included, and this is also the basement for one of these bridges, which we will create in one of the next working steps. And while we are adding some tiny brick details and put this aside to work on the very first tiny ship, I'd like to spoiler one of the videos I'm working on right now as I speak, and this is Little Nightmares 2. I'm doing things a little different. It's not a regular, well, it's a tutorial, but it's not a figurine as I would create it normally. But I think it will be pretty scary. And this video is coming out at the beginning of next week. So we have two videos next week, Little Nightmares 2, and with the upcoming Fortnite Season 6, I am already prepared to create whatever brings us Season 6. I know that many of you are still playing and enjoying the game, and well, let's see what Season brings us. Season 6 brings us, and yeah. I'm here to create it with clay, so just that you know I'm here to do my duty. But the Little Nightmares 2 project, oh boy. I played the game over the past days, I haven't finished it and I won't spoiler anything about the game, but the atmosphere, this is so intense. It's really like looking into your darkest nightmares when you were a tiny child. Okay, but back to Anno 1800, because this is also a beautiful game. It's quite different when you're playing strategy games. It's more like meditation, at least for me, compared to doing Little Nightmares 2. This would be more like doing sports, because you're going all in. And Anno 1800, well, this is a long-term project. Whenever I start a new game which lasts hours and days and weeks, I know that I don't have to rush into things because I have time. Well, not always, things can happen, but in general, playing strategy games calms me down a lot. Now, we are working this beautiful bridge. Why is it green? Well, I'd guess this is a bridge made of copper. And, oh, we have 2 bridges. So we should change the base of this bridge, but don't worry. We just moved the whole island. This is what they did 100 years ago. When they realized, oh no, we can't connect these 2 islands. Okay, let's just move the one island. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, now we can work on 2 bridges. I have no idea why inside the game there are 2 bridges right next to each other. Is it because it's one-way bridges? So if you want to enter, to go onto the island, you're using the one bridge, and when you're leaving, you're using the other? Or is one used for transportation purpose and the other for pedestrians? I have no idea. And I'd love to read your thoughts on this. Let me know in the comments. And yeah, it's time for the liquid clay. For those of you who don't know this stuff, it's liquid clay. It's disgusting, but it gets transparent after oven hardening in the oven. Last working step with clay. For now, we are creating tiny boats. Tiny boats which are floating around in this tiny city we are building. And we are ready to go into the oven. Freshly baked Dockland. Well, the ground layer of Dockland. It looks quite empty. And I don't know why, but it reminds me of my whole I.O. video I did. I created this one on a similar scale, and I even added some tiny figurines. This would also be a nice idea. But let's keep this thought to add some tiny figurines to this miniature map, maybe for a further video. And let's focus on the clay part. We have this beautiful old bridge I am assembling right now. And I'm really curious what it looks like when it is connecting the 2 islands. Okay, carefully. It's like clipping your nails, fingernails. Oh, it looks so beautiful. Look at that. Also the next one, which is open. And then we have plenty of these wooden planks. I came up with this story. In reality, when they built like a port facility like this one, it grew organically. This means they built some of the docks and then they realized, oh, we need some more space. Let's make it larger. Let's add some of these wooden planks to have some extra space. And this is how this tiny scenery grew. I'm pretty sure it works like this in reality. I mean, we have some medieval cities which grew like this. They added a wall around, and then some further buildings came outside the wall, and then they added a second wall around the city center. And this is what I mean by saying growing organically. Now, this is the first building we are creating from Dockland. It's a beautiful name for Speicherstadt. Because Dockland includes the word land, and this means it's gigantic. It's as huge as a country, as a land. And this is the pattern we are doing all over again, with also the other houses. Yeah. It's a very beautiful design for these houses, this typical brick style for these old houses, which can still be visited today in Hamburg, in Germany. So when you're one day in Germany, you should definitely visit this place. I've been there many years ago. And it's somehow surreal, because you have these gigantic buildings floating in the water. At least it looks like this. I am adding a tiny tower on top of this building. It has no function at all. It looks just beautiful. And then we have one last building type for today, which is a lighthouse, which I'm really looking forward to create. Okay, for the lighthouse we need a different color. We have this dark copper, almost looking like bronze. And the design of the lighthouse is pretty simple. I start with this basic form, and then we are just adding stuff to it. We have this tiny piece of wire for the top, and with the new modeling tool I'm adding in some details. Over the past weeks I got some messages from the very first people to get the new modeling tools, and I wanted to thank you. So if you also have the new tools and would like to give feedback, I'm more than happy to read your comments on the new tool. And yeah, you get it on ClayClaim.com in the two different colors. We have ash, wood, olive and smoked oak. That's 3 colors. And I've been working on this for 2 years now. It was 2 years in development, the new modeling tools. But this doesn't mean it is perfect. It doesn't mean it won't change maybe someday. So if you have some feedback, I'm more than happy to read that. This is the last working step for today with clay. We have a lot of boxes and barrels. These are all the goods the Docklands were made for. To have the capacity to fill these buildings with a lot of wooden boxes. And who knows what's inside. We're ready to go into the oven. Freshly baked! Yeah, brick buildings, brick house buildings, and the lighthouse. And before we glue these onto our miniature map and make it vivid, we bring in some more details by painting the entrance area, for example. I make it a little bit more dirty, because it's 1800 and nobody cared about air pollution and everything. Yeah, I had an aunt and she told us about the steam locomotive when it was passing by, that she had to get her clothes inside, which were drying outside, because otherwise they would have been so dirty that she should have washed it again and again and again. Yeah, we are painting some beautiful windows into these buildings, and then the roof. which is also copper. Oxidized copper becomes this beautiful green color, and I was so happy to have this metallic marker, which happens to be, well, the color of oxidized copper. And then we are painting some more bricks onto the buildings, and then we have to assemble some of these tiny lifts to wooden cranes. On the other Anno 1404 video, on the creation, I also added 2 tiny cranes, and I'm not sure if you remember this video, but it is very similar. So cranes are important to the Anno series, not because they have a function or playing an important role, but just for decoration. It makes a harbor scenery so much more vivid when you have these tiny cranes lifting off some of the boxes lying around. Now the lighthouse needs this white stripe. I also love this detail with the plexiglass. Well, it's a little bit dirty, but I thought this would even add more value because it's not 100% transparent. And this tiny flag. And well, we have these boxes and some beautiful works you did over on Reddit. The ClayClaim skin. And look at that, it's Godzilla. I love your ideas so much, not only from the games which I already created on the channel, but there's also like Hectelion. He started creating a gigantic Stardew Valley project. Thanks so much for all your inspiration. I knew where to put the houses, but all the other stuff, well, this is just randomly. Yeah, just adding a little bit more dirt to the ground, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, we have the big buildings in the background. They are defining the whole scenery. Beautiful, okay. The tiny ships in the water, the lighthouse in the front. Tiny crane should go right there because it is filling some stuff into the boats or lifting it up. The other goods and boxes we are just distributing around. Maybe there is a depot on the left side, another one right on these wooden piers. And then what about another crane coming right out of the building? Super glue, this is possible. Oh, this looks so nice. Maybe we add another one. We just need to attach the rope to this stick. Okay. Now with the transparent polish, we give this whole scenery its finishing look. The water gets quite vivid. It gets shiny. Just make sure to don't leave out any spot. And this is the smoke coming from this boat. Okay. And with this white pen, we can make the water even more vivid. It's like sparkling water. And for the boat, it defines into which direction the boat is floating. It looks so beautiful. Look at that, guys, I guess. That's it! Anno 1800 with the first DLC, Docklands, with the lighthouse, beautiful buildings, and this bridge. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I love this game, Anno. Make sure to watch also my 1404 video from Anno, from the Anno series. If you want to see more miniature creations like this one, let me know. Have an amazing weekend, have an amazing week, stay safe, stay creative, bye. Whoa, so you're still watching. Well, I have some beautiful videos right here, and next week, Little Nightmares 2 and Fortnite Season 6.